This is how to do the barbell back squat. So you start by approaching the bar, make sure the hands are even on each side. This rough part of the bar is called knurling. You can use these markings on the bar of the knurling to make sure that the hands are even on each side. Typically you put like a thumb length out from the edge of the knurling, or you can grip right up next to the knurling. Typically the closer the hands are, the easier it is to create tension in the upper back. Tension being a flexing of the muscles here and good core bracing to make it more about the leg drive than about thinking about where the back needs to be. So getting this set tight helps it be more on the legs and helps it be a smoother, more controlled movement. So take your grip, making sure it's even on each side. Setting the bar right on top of the traps. The traps are the muscles right on top. It makes a good bed of muscles for the bar to sit on so it's not pressing up against the neck here. One more thing, think about taking the elbows and trying to touch them together behind the back. When you first start squatting, the bar can feel uncomfortable on the neck, and people think about trying to shrug up to create this bed of muscle, but that tends to push the bar up into the neck even more. So you think about taking a good tight grip, pulling the shoulders down and back. And that'll create a good spot for the bar to sit on and create really good back tension during the squat. We take our grip, bar on top of the traps, shoulders down and back. Think about touching the elbows together behind the back. Just a couple steps back. You don't have to take a full hike back away from the rack. Take a good deep breath. Flex the abs. Think about tucking the ribs kind of down just a little bit. Not way too much to where you start to round. But we're flexing the abs, even the sides of the abs, and flexing that back to create good core tension during the lift. Now your foot position is kind of individual. People got hips that are built different from person to person. Some people feel real natural, turn the toes way out and squatting like this. Some people feel like it's more natural for them to have a closer stance and have the knees going straight forward. It's kind of up to you, you know. Typically we set the feet about shoulder width, turn the toes slightly out, but this is something you can play around with and find what allows you to get the best depth with good mechanics and what feels most natural. But as you're squatting, a thing that is universal is for the knees to go where the toes are pointing. So if my toes are pointed a little bit out, I'm going to want my knees to push a little bit out to go directly where the toes are pointing. So if your feet are straight forward, knees are going to go straight forward. If the toes are pointed way out, knees have to go way out over those toes. So get set, get your width, get your back tension. The hips will go back slightly. Hips are going back just a little bit. And from there, keeping good core bracing. You may prefer to hold your breath, and that's just fine. Kind of take that deep breath. Hold through the transition. Breathe out once you kind of pass about halfway up. Take your next breath. Set. Hold through the transition. Breathing out on the way up. So, back tight, core braced. Deep breath. Hips go back a little bit. And then we're going straight down in the hole. Knees have to go out where the toes are pointing. And you want to go pretty much as low as what you can maintain good tension, good core bracing, and good mechanics. If you find you get to here and the back starts to round, don't go beyond that point. If you find, if you're kind of newer to squatting and you don't know where your depth needs to be, or you find that there's variation from rep to rep, you can find yourself a box. And we're not fully sitting on the box, but you can use that box as a consistent gauge of depth to light touch and drive back up. One of the biggest and most common technical mistakes is for, people be able to keep the knees out over the toes on the way down, but on the way up, when you first go to drive out of the hole, the knees may cave in towards each other. Especially on that first drive up out of the hole, think about pushing the knees out away from each other, not to push the knees farther out than the toes, but just to keep the knees going where the toes are pointing. So all together now. Big chest, shoulders down and back, tight grip on the bar. Deep breath, good core bracing. Hips go back a little bit, going straight down into the hole, keeping the knees out over the toes. Going as low as you can with good mechanics and good tension. Driving up out of the hole. Control on the way down. Big drive up out of the hole. and that's a barbell back squat. When you do go to put the bar back up into the rack, don't try to place it gingerly on these, just all the way in, and then